Today, we also confer an honorary degree upon Bonnie Patterson in acknowledgement of her accomplishments as a long-serving leader within the Ontario post-secondary education system. I'm delighted to welcome her to this convocation. To present our distinguished candidate, I now call upon Dr. Janice Dickin, Provost and Vice President Academic.
Over the 137-year history, Western has earned an enviable track record for contributing to the education and the development of great leaders. From world-class researchers and scholars in a wide range of scientific and academic disciplines to internationally renowned writers, musicians, and artists. And from highly regarded politicians and public servants to remarkably successful captains of industry. Western is very proud to count many extraordinary leaders among our alumni in practically every field of human endeavor. Today, we are delighted to pay tribute to one such alumna who has distinguished herself as a passionate and effective champion for post-secondary education and university research. Professor Bonnie Patterson, who is currently serving in her second term as President and CEO of the Council of Ontario Universities, is an accomplished teacher, scholar, academic administrator who started her career at Western. After earning her BA and Master of Library Science here, Bonnie served on the faculty at Western from 1975 to 1980 in what was then called the Department of Administrative Office Management. Since then, her career trajectory accelerated on a steep incline. For the next 15 years, she served in progressively senior roles at Ryerson University, including professor and department chair, as well as special assistant to the president, and eventually as dean of their faculty of business. In 1995, Bonnie was appointed to her first term as president of the Council of Ontario Universities, where she worked tirelessly as an advocate on behalf of the 17 universities and 2 associate member institutions for the next 3 years. Then, in 1998, Bonnie became the first woman to be appointed president and vice chancellor at Trent University, where for the next 11 years, she became Trent's longest-serving president. As president at Trent, she was praised for her tenacity, her resilience, her respect, enthusiasm, openness to ideas, and her unflagging dedication to both the university and the city of Peterborough. Among Bonnie's many achievements at Trent, she was instrumental in launching new professional programs in education, nursing, and forensic science. She helped raise more than $30 million through fundraising campaigns for Trent during that time. And she oversaw the creation and opening of several new facilities, including the Peter Zosky College, First People's House of Learning, and an award-winning chemical sciences building. And she wasn't done there. After completion of her second full term at Trent, Bonnie was appointed for a second time as president and CEO of the Council of Ontario Universities, where she continues today to work on our behalf, working and lobbying with government and industry on behalf of Ontario's universities. In 2006, Bonnie was named among the top 100 most powerful women in Canada by the Women's Executive Network. And in 2010, she was appointed to the Order of Ontario, as well as a member of the Order of Canada for her contributions and leadership in post-secondary education. As acting chancellor and in the name of the Senate, it gives me great pleasure to ask you, Mr. Chancellor, to confer the degree Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, upon Bonnie Patterson.
By virtue of the authority vested in me as acting chancellor, I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa. Congratulations, Dr. Bonnie Patterson. On behalf of all assembled here today, I should now like to invite our newest alumna, Dr. Bonnie Patterson, to address Convocation.
Mr. Chancellor, Mr. President, honored graduates and guests, colleagues on this distinguished platform, ladies and gentlemen. This is, in some ways, a surreal experience, standing on stage today at my alma mater. Never would I have thought this could possibly happen when I was sitting where you are today as a graduate. My last experience on this stage was being hooded on completion of my master's degree here at Western by a very dear friend, the late Professor Hugh Stevenson, the Associate Dean of Education at the time. He did the honor. That brings back so many, many fond memories. His wife, Professor Janet Stevenson, also a long-serving member of Western's faculty, was one of my first role models as a young academic, and I'm most thankful that she's here today as a former colleague, a mentor, and a cherished friend. She personifies to me optimism, professionalism, and joy in life. 40 years ago this year, I began my academic career here at Western. What an unlikely start for me. A one-year contract for a maternity leave replacement that led to 5 great years on Western's faculty and an academic and administrative path that you have read about in your program and that Dr. Deacon presented to you in the citation. That first step has proven to be a great career lesson for me. You just never know where uncertain starts will take you. In this case, it was a more profound opportunity than I could ever have imagined at the time. Enjoying that year in the classroom also helped me to solidify my decision to pursue graduate studies, which put me in the company of colleagues who were exceptional teachers. That 1 year's experience 40 years ago set the course for a magnificent journey. And as I look back at that journey, Western represents an alignment of the planets for me. I earned my undergraduate and graduate credentials from here, credentials and skills that have stood me in good stead throughout my life and career. Western's the place that gave me a hand up in starting my career. It fostered an environment that allowed me to understand myself and my values. It offered a place where I could fail and even fall in love for the first time. It provided the experience in which to discover and pursue my curiosity, and it was a setting and city where I met friends and colleagues I've kept throughout my life. And it's exciting for me to be joined today by 2 other mentors of mine, Joanne Reed and Diane Cunningham. Joanne is a former colleague, both here at Western and in other places since, and a dear friend whom I've shared many experiences with. She's taught me the value of taking a chance on change, to be entrepreneurial, and importantly, to believe in yourself. And Diane Cunningham is an extraordinary London community member, my former Minister of Training Colleges and Universities, and an exceptional woman leader. I've learned a great deal about humility and politics from her that have contributed to my success in my career and my family. I'm thankful for the friendship and guidance of these three remarkable women who've been part of my walk through life and career. H.G. Wells wrote, and I quote, "Human history becomes more and more a race between education and catastrophe." Now, he wrote that in 1920, but to me it represents a truism today as I reflect on my own life. Embedded in that quote is great faith in education and the power of continuous learning. As graduates, one of the greatest gifts from your time here at Western is the ability to learn. You've learned to learn, to apply research, communications, analytical and problem-solving skills, both within a familiar context and in new situations. And that is a gift for life. We are at an advantage when we can use this ability and integrate all those skills we've acquired as part of a higher order cognitive skill set. You must allow and challenge yourself to use them on the journey of life and career. A longtime friend whom I taught with for many years at another institution, coincidentally a Western graduate, sent me a note very early in my career that said, "The beauty is in the walking. We are betrayed by destinations." I've kept that note, both in my thoughts and in my file, throughout my life. And it's worth remembering as you start your walk outside this great hall today. Attending university was not on my radar when I was in high school. Having left home at 16 to find my own way in the world, I was focused on my part-time job, paying my room and board, and finding a full-time job after high school. Sleeping on a park bench, wondering what was next for me, could have taken me on a path of catastrophe. But to make a long story short and relevant to you today, it was a teacher who took me under her wing and into her home and ensured a safe environment for me to complete my final 2 years of high school. One day, she asked a critically important question of me. "What university are you thinking about attending?" It wasn't whether, but where will you go to university? That question not only challenged my thinking, but it made me pause. It dared me to dream. Today, I'd be called a first-gen student and probably one from a disadvantaged background. I know I didn't get here on my own, and I want to remind you that you didn't either. In fact, graduates, I'd like you to rise. And I'd like you to applaud those that have helped you along your way. Thank you. While that dare to dream moment was a long time ago for me, I know without a doubt my university experience, both inside and outside the classroom, provided me with choices and opportunities. And those choices and opportunities were in my life, and I would not have otherwise have had them. They also provided me the tools to ensure I was not betrayed by destinations. My learning has come in many different forms throughout my life, both formal and informal, inside the classroom, but also outside of it. And after a first-year academic performance that I personally would like to keep locked away in a safe in Fort Knox, I took a year off from studies, what I affectionately called my gap year. Living and traveling throughout North Africa and continental Europe transformed my life and launched my understanding of what it means to be a global citizen. Whether it was crossing the desert of Libya, pushing our van with a dead battery to get a jump start while being chased by bandits on camels, learning about the dangers of the white slave market when a friend with us lost his wife, or having to bribe our way out of Algeria when several attempts to cross the border into Morocco were unsuccessful, as strangers in a strange land, we learned a great deal. And today, volunteering with a foundation that works to keep and get girls in school in the Maasai in Kenya reminds me that what we accept here as a given, as our right, does not apply in other parts of the world. Recently, a teacher strike in the Masamara, only a few years ago now, meant that the girls that we support had to return to their villages and orphanages. And when the strike ended, quite a number of them didn't come back to school. They were married off for dowry. The break in the school year had meant the contract signed by their guardians to not take them from school was null and void. Some girls were as young as 11 years of age. These are real consequences, perhaps unintended, in a deeply different culture that took away what to us would be both our innocence and a basic right and requirement to complete elementary and secondary school. Those experiences and many others, whether from the early 70s or more recently, are constant reminders to me of what we sometimes take for granted in the Western world. They were game changers in my understanding of culture and society, of politics and democracy, of the transformational impact of education and its role in staving off catastrophe. And as a student of public administration and politics in my undergraduate studies, those experiences reaffirm for me that while democracies are sometimes messy, we must be strident in our engagement to protect the rights and freedoms we enjoy in Canada. Those experiences continue to reaffirm for me why our universities matter and why we must work harder in our quest to internationalize the student experience and create truly global citizens. Our shared world faces many critical challenges, and not just from the perspective of a global economy, but also from civil society. As individuals, we must also accept that we have a personal responsibility to learn more in a global context. We are not isolated islands unto ourselves. Working in a university setting all my life has provided me a dynamic environment in which to learn something new every day. I'm continuously inspired by the students I meet. I've learned from those I've taught and been consistently impressed by the commitment and intellect of the faculty within our universities and the many other people who devote their lives to student success and their own learning. My life has certainly pushed me to work outside my comfort zone. Stepping outside of what's familiar is not an easy thing, and truthfully, it's been, from time to time, a bit scary. But it's a great technique to help you grow and continuously learn. I consider my 40 years serving the university sector both a pleasure and a privilege. University administration has allowed me to be in a real-time lab every day and to practice my passion. Yes, passion. I love universities and their capacity to transform lives, to inspire, to create room to understand oneself, and to prepare you for that walk that provides choice and opportunity. Finding the passion in what you do is a critical success factor, whether in your career or in your life. Winston Churchill, who has given, in recorded history at least, the shortest Convocation address, focused his message on 5 words: never, never, never give up. Now that's a paraphrase because he actually used 23 words: never, 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 in nothing, great or small, large or petty, never give in except to convictions of honor and good sense. I haven't been quite that brief in my remarks this morning, but I've tried to share with you something from what my university life and career has taught me. And let me reiterate, not in 5 short words like Churchill, but in 5 small bits of advice to you as graduates. 1, learn something new every day, especially from those around you. 2, challenge yourself to work outside your comfort zone, whether locally or globally. 3, find your passion, and that requires that you take the time to get to know yourself and to examine your values. 4, don't be betrayed by destinations. Enjoy the career journey and life embraces. And finally, my 5th bit of advice, remember the Wizard of Oz. You have a heart, you have a brain, you have courage. You hold all the attributes of emotional intelligence waiting to be applied and to be a true leader. Western graduates, my best wishes to you on your life's path. Carry your experience at Western with pride, with purpose, and passion as you celebrate your graduation today. Thank you. Merci. Miigwech.